Mr. Yoshimura,
Here.
Mr. Engel,
Here.
Mrs. Detzel,
Here.
Mr. Gilbert,
Here.
Mr. Detzel.
Here.
Okay, we'll move into the oath of office for the newly elected board members. Okay. I, Tamara Detzel, do hereby swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States, that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Ohio, that I will perform faithfully the duties of member of the Board of Education of the Northwest Local School District in Hamilton County, Ohio, to the best of my ability, and in accordance with the laws now in effect, and hereafter to be enacted during my continuance in said office, and until my successor is elected and qualified. I, Victor,
I, Mark Gilbert,
do hereby swear
do hereby swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
and the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
that I will perform faithfully
that I will perform faithfully
the duties of a member of the Board of Education
the duties of the Board of Education
of the Northwest Local School District
of the Northwest Local School District
in Hamilton County, Ohio,
Hamilton County, Ohio,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
in accordance with the laws now in effect
in accordance with the laws now in effect,
and hereafter enacted
and hereafter enacted,
during my continuance in said office,
and during my continuance in said office,
and until my successor is elected and qualified.
until my successor is elected and qualified.
I, Tiffany,
I, Joe Yoshimura,
do hereby swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Ohio.
and the Constitution of the State of Ohio.
I will perform faithfully
I will perform faithfully
the duties of a member of the Board of Education
the duties as a member of the Board of Education
of the Northwest Local School District
of the Northwest Local School District
in Hamilton County, Ohio,
in Hamilton County, Ohio,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
in accordance with the laws now in effect
in accordance with the laws now in effect,
and hereafter enacted
and hereafter enacted,
during my continuance in said office,
and in the continuance of said office,
until my successor is elected and qualified.
until my successor is elected and qualified. Congratulations. Didn't stumble once. That's good.
Would you all please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, we will take nominations for the president for 2018.
I nominate Pam Detzel.
Are there any other nominations? May I have a motion to close nominations?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Chris, do you need to? Oh, yes, I'm supposed to go slow.
She tells me that, I don't do it.
Got a ruler, she's made a train.
We're doing something new on our system, so it's taking a few extra minutes.
So now everyone can confirm for me that they see that who they're voting for is Pam Betzel for president?
Yes.
Yes. Can you see that? Right there.
Yeah. Where it says summary.
Oh, yes, okay, yes.
We're good.
Okay. So now you see exactly who you're voting for, now you can go ahead and do the motion in second.
Okay, so we've closed the nominations, so now we just need a motion and a second for voting.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, been moved and seconded. Call for the vote. Everybody get it?
Yeah. It's good.
Woo!
You just hit, go ahead.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Did you want to give the result on that?
Yes. Vote of 5-0 for Pam for president. So now oath of office. I think we're back on track.
And Pam, if you can just make sure for every vote, since we're not going to be able to view that on the screen, just tell us what the. Okay. I, Pamela Betzel, do hereby affirm that I support the Constitution of the United States, that I support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Ohio, and the Constitution of the State of Ohio, I will perform faithfully, the duties of President of the Board of Education, the duties of President of the Board of Education of the Northwest Local School District, Hamilton County, Ohio, and Hamilton County, Ohio, to the best of my ability, in accordance with the laws now in effect, and hereafter to be enacted, during my continuance in said office, till my successor is elected and qualified.
Okay, we'll try to make this one not so suspenseful here. We'd like a nomination for vice president for 2018.
I'd like to nominate Robert Engel to serve as Vice President of the Northwest School Board.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second?
Okay, do we have any other nominations? Okay. A call for a motion to close the nominations for vice president.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to close the nominations for vice president. Here we go. So everybody should see in front of you, it says Bob Engel for vice president.
Yes.
Okay. Do we go ahead and call for the vote, Chris, or do I push next item on this one? Okay, maybe it will be a
I don't see that.
suspense.
On mine.
It should be 4.4.
Item was not approved for viewing.
Can you go to current item down on the left-hand, bottom left-hand? Does it take you there then? No?
No,
Oh,
it
you
just
there?
says,
You're there.
it is not approved for viewing.
Go back to the right side and click join meeting. Now does it take you there?
Yep.
Okay.
we gotta join the meeting after everyone?
No, there's just a glitch.
Okay.
Okay. So we call for the vote? I need a drum roll. A very long one. Oh, here we go.
It's like Jeopardy music.
Yeah. Oh, go. It's, do I have to click ahead to see what everybody voted? Okay. Okay, I'm still not seeing how everybody voted. Okay, so that was 5-0 to close the nomination. So now we will vote for Bob as our vice president. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
It's moved and seconded. We'll call for the vote. There we go. It's not showing me how everybody voted either, so I don't know how to. Okay. Motion passes 5-0. Congratulations, Bob's vice president. Oath of office. Okay. Well, yeah, and it should show all of us, the final vote, so I know what to do.
I, Bob Engel, do hereby affirm
And I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United
and
States
the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
and the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
and I will perform faithfully
that I will perform faithfully
the duties of Vice President of the Board of Education
the duties of Vice President of the Board of Education
for the Northwest Local School District
of the Northwest Local School District
of Hamilton County, Ohio,
in Hamilton County, Ohio,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
in accordance with the laws now in effect
in accordance with the laws now in effect
and hereafter to be enacted
and hereafter to be enacted
during my continuance in said office
during my continuance in said office
and until my successor is elected and qualified.
until my successor is elected and qualified.
Okay, at this time, we're going to establish time and place for the board meetings. I do have one date on this calendar that I wanted to check with everybody. There are actually 5 weeks in October. We currently are scheduled for October 22nd, and if you can't check now, that's fine, but wanted to see if possibly we can move that to October 29th. I know our 5-year forecast is due that month, and that extra week would be nice to give the Treasurer's Department to have another week to get everything done. Do any of you know if that would be a problem? You okay? You guys okay?
I'm okay.
Okay. So with that, do we need the motion to change that date, or just? We're changing that one date. Okay. I'd like a motion to amend the calendar for the board meetings for the October 22nd meeting to be moved to October 29th.
So moved.
Second.
Okay?
Have to do a verbal on that.
Okay, we're going to,
Mrs. Detzel?
aye.
Mr. Engel?
Aye.
Mr. Yoshimura? I'm sorry, I will get this, I promise you, sir.
We'll give you 4 years, okay?
Okay. That's all I have left, so that's good.
Aye.
Mr. Gilbert?
Aye.
Mr. Detzel?
Aye.
Okay. Motion passes 5-0. So now we're going to vote on the amended board meeting schedule that is in front of us for 2018. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Any questions, comments? Okay,
Reminder that starting times went from 7 to 6:30.
thank you. Yes, we will be starting our meetings. We're moving them up to 6:30 instead of 7 o'clock, our board meetings. Okay, we'll call for the vote. Motion passes 5-0. We'd like to make a motion to waive the reading of the minutes.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved in second. Are there any questions regarding the minutes? Okay, call for the vote. Motion passes 5-0. At this time, we need to appoint a legislative liaison. I would like to nominate Joe Yashimura to represent us for the legislative liaison.
I'll second that.
Okay. Are there any comments, questions? Okay, we'll call for the vote. Okay, the Board of Education nominated Joe Yashimura and appoints him to represent us as the legislative liaison for the board for 2018. And we're sorry, we will get these kinks worked out, I promise. Everybody vote?
Yep.
Okay. Motion passed 5-0. Thank you, Joe, for representing us as the legislative liaison.
Thanks, Joe.
At this time, I would like to nominate Mark Gilbert as our Student Achievement Liaison to represent the board for 2018. I have a second?
Second.
I'm sorry. Okay. We have a motion and a second. Call for the vote. Awesome. Also 5-0. Thank you, Mark, for representing us. Todd, do you want to do this part, or do you want me to?
At this time is the recognition of our board attorneys. The board recognizes the following board attorneys: staying current, Frost, Brown, and Todd for construction; staying current, Dinsmore, WCM Financing; staying current, Finney Law, Board of Revisions and Expulsions; and adding on is Innocent Britton. And from Innocent Britton tonight, we have Bill Dieters and Bronston McCord in the audience. So, Bill, I don't know if either one of you would like to say anything.
Yeah, just a few things, Todd, if I could, that'd be great. I'm Bill Dieters. This is Bronson, my partner, Bronson McCord. First of all, we want to thank you for the opportunity to be here this evening. I think we represented Northwest Board of Education for almost 30 years. We've had a little 3-year hiatus, and we're super glad to be back. Some things have changed in Ennis Britton since the last time we were here. One, we were called Ennis Robertson Fisher before, and now we're called Ennis Britton, so that's the biggest thing. And with that change came some pretty dynamic opportunities that we think helps our clients immensely. We now have offices in Cincinnati, Columbus, Cleveland, and Mahoning County, or the Youngstown area. With that, we brought in additional attorneys. We have 13 total attorneys in our office now, and we represent somewhere around 175 school districts in the state of Ohio. We were also able to kind of leverage our ability to be a little bit larger now, and saying, quite proudly that we are the largest and school law firm, the largest firm in the state of Ohio that's solely focused on the representation of public school boards. There are other ones that represent almost as many school districts as we do, but they have many other disciplines, and our focus is on the representation of school districts. I don't want to take too much of your time because technology is great when it works.
Exactly.
I think I might have learned that from you, Jim, somewhere down the road. But I do want, for those of you who have worked with us before, you know what you're getting from us. I know we have two individuals on the board now who have it, and I want to congratulate your service to the public. It's a thankless job, and you certainly get paid you do it for the money. I know that for sure. So, the way we're very proactive and we're very practical in our representation. Our goal is to make the jobs of you as board members and of the administrators that we work with on an everyday basis easier. We're not here to make things more difficult. When you call us, you're going to get a straight answer if a straight answer is available. We're not going to try to pad legal bills. We're very fair in our billing, and we're very practical. And I like to believe that we're a very solution-oriented type of law firm. When you call us, we're going to have a solution, and if we don't have one there, we're going to find one. One of the in that 175 school districts that we represent, one of the nice symbiotic relationships for you is that we also have Butler Tech. And I know that I was kind of here when you all made that conversion to Butler Tech, and I've worked with Jim on those kind of matters as well. So I think that helps you in a little bit because there's that kind of a lack of any kind of obstruction there in that particular process. We handed out a folder to you all that please feel free to peruse it. You didn't really put out a request for proposals, but we sort of addressed it as if it was. So there's a large letter that's kind of lengthy, so if you feel like falling asleep this evening, you can read that before you turn in. But we also have some samples of some things in there, and I just kind of want to briefly talk about some of the services that we also offer that you get with coming with us, and then Bronson's just going to talk a little bit more specific about our approach to law. As I said, with getting ourselves becoming a little bit larger, we were able to leverage some things. So we have an administrators academy that we offer 4 times a year, free of charge. And we have different topics. They range from HR-related topics to special education-related topics. We usually try to do something from a finance standpoint for treasurers. But 4 times a year, we put that on. And it's either sometimes put on live in person here in Cincinnati, sometimes it's out of Columbus and it's on video, and other times it would be available to you by like a webinar type of service. And we get a lot of positive feedback on that. We have a lot of our clients that really have utilized that a great deal. We also have a newsletter that comes out once a month. If you as board members are not on that yet, on that mailing list, I'll work with Todd or Todd's secretary to make sure that happens. And Todd, anybody you want to have on that list is perfectly capable of being on there. When we started this newsletter probably about 5 or 6 years ago, I kind of thought, great, everyone has a newsletter, big deal, right?
Probably closer to 11 years.
Yeah, 11 years ago. Yeah, well, I'm getting older than I thought. And really, when we do about every 2 to 3 years, we do a client survey and ask our clients, like, what are we doing right? What are we doing wrong? What do you like? What do you don't like? How can we do better? And overwhelmingly, one of the most positive responses we get is that crazy newsletter.
It's along the lines of 98% readership rate. Something crazy like that. So because of that, we've actually developed it and made it even better. We also put out periodic blogs. Something might happen. There might be a Supreme Court case tomorrow. There might be a new ruling. There might be a new regulation that comes down, and we'll have a blog out on the street almost immediately. We will also sometimes do sort of impromptu seminars. There can be a change in the teacher evaluation law. There's recent changes that have come down on the IEP forms, and we know that our clients need that information. They need it quickly, and so we get it out there. We literally provide thousands of hours a year from our attorneys where we do not charge for professional development, and we give legal advice to that process. And we believe that's important to us. We want to give back to our clients. Our clients have been very good to us. We want to give back to them. Most of our clients have been with us unless they're relatively new to the game, they've been with us for dozens of years. So there's a great variety of things that you have available. We have a website which has many of our old newsletters archived. It can be searched by topic, so sometimes you can go in there and search those topics. Our ability to represent you runs the gamut from HR issues to special education issues to facility issues to anything that you need, with the exception of really bond work. We kind of try to stay out of that arena, mostly because
insurance is too great. Mess up a bond, you're in big trouble. But other than that, I mean, anytime you have any questions, and we're very accessible. We pride ourselves on our use of technology. Every one of our attorneys that you have information in there, how to get a hold of them. Most of you know if you need to get a hold of anybody nowadays, it seems like calling cell phones is a better option than calling their office, which typically that's for us as well. We tell our clients that if you have an emergency, you text me 911 or any of our attorneys 911, and unless we're probably in front of a federal judge, we'll step out and take the call immediately because we know sometimes you do have emergencies that you have to deal with.
Well, the upside too is they're 5 minutes away. So if
Right.
if something starts breaking loose and hitting the fan, it's not that hard to get one of the 8 attorneys in the Cincinnati office over here to take care of it.
Yeah, we literally are like 2.1 miles away from you or something like that in North
Except
Carolina.
for our chart Coleraine, then maybe it's a little long.
Right. But if I'd like to, we'll be happy to answer any questions you have in any capacity. But I want to let Bronson talk a little bit. But before we do that, the other thing too is I want to make sure it's really important to you as a board. We are the board. The 5 of you are our client. The Board of Education is the client of Ennis Britton, as if any attorney. And I want to make sure that's important. We work with the administrators every single day because we have to, because you're not engaged in that aspect. But we're here to represent the best interests of the Northwest School District, and that's always going to be what we're doing, what we've done in the past. We've been involved in some very big projects here that have had some extremely successful outcomes, and we look forward to continuing that for you.
And I don't want to take any more of your time. I know you've got a lot more items on this agenda. I just want to say thanks for the opportunity. It's good to be back.
Okay.
Thank
All right. Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Happy New Year, and stay warm and dry.
Okay,
Pam, I can do the rest of these since I'm recommending it if you want me to.
that'd be great.
All right.
I-
So we need to vote. Superintendent recommends the Board of Education recognize the board attorneys as listed.
Need a motion.
So moved.
It's been moved and second. Are there any questions or comments?
Pam, did you take it back?
I did.
I didn't go back. I kicked it back.
I did. I'm on that page.
I have to go to join meetings.
Yeah, try that.
I'm anxiously waiting.
So we know it's for sure.
The rest of us had to wait. You might have to wait too.
Good thing you're not getting billed tonight, right?
We would switch to manual like that.
We're gonna
Did
go
you
ahead.
guys get back on?
It won't get to the vote. We'll just do it manually.
Manual vote.
Mrs. Detzel?
Aye.
Mr. Detzel?
Aye.
Mr. Yoshimura?
Aye.
Mr. Gilbert?
Aye.
Mr. Detzel?
Aye. You called me twice. You didn't call Bob.
Mr. Engel?
Aye.
I guess you want me to say 6-0? That should cause some issues. Thank you. Have a good night. Motion passed 5-0.
The next item is recognition of booster and support organizations. The board recognizes the following booster support organizations: Northwest Boosters, Coleraine Boosters, Ann Weigel PTA, Clarence A. Struble PTA, Coleraine Elementary PTA, Coleraine High School PTA, Coleraine Middle PTA, Welch PTA, Taylor PTA, Montford Heights PTA, Northwest Senior High PTA, Pleasant Run L PTA, Pleasant Run Middle PTA, and White Oak Middle School PTA. Superintendent recommends the Board of Education recognize the booster support organizations as listed.
So moved.
It's been moved in second. Are there any questions? I actually have one. It looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of the different organizations were waiting on paperwork. Do they have a certain time frame to get that to us so we're compliant with our board policy?
Well, with this being the first year, we're just working with them to
Okay.
gather the original documents.
Okay.
And then work with them monthly to submit the financials and their minutes.
Okay.
So we're working closely with each of the groups to present those.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay. Call for the vote? Oh, motion passes 5-0. I was going to say, all of a sudden I can see it now. I've been faking it up till now. Okay.
Next item is OSBA membership dues for 2018. Superintendent recommends the approval of membership dues for OSBA as listed.
So moved.
Second.
Moved in second. Any questions regarding our OSBA? That's the Ohio School Board Association membership dues. Okay. Chris? Motion passes 5-0.
Next item is OSBA Legal Assistance Fund membership. Superintendent recommends the Board of Education approve the membership of the OSBA Legal Assistance Fund as listed.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any questions regarding the Ohio School Board Association Legal Assistance Fund membership? Okay, Chris? Motion passes 5-0.
Next item is to establish the Board Service Fund. Establish the Board Service Fund for 2018. The superintendent recommends the Board of Education approve the Board Service Fund as listed.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Questions regarding the Board Service Fund?
Yeah, what is that money, that fund used for?
Do you want me to answer, or you want to answer?
You'll pay your OSBA dues, and then when the board goes to professional development, it pays for the registration and all the expenses.
Which, speaking of that, do we have a date yet for our 2 new board members for,
We do not. I'm waiting to hear back from BASA.
okay. Typically, just to let everybody know, there's always a new board member class that gets paid out of these funds so that, you know, the new board members can go and learn all the different ins and outs of being a board member. So Joe and Mark will be attending that whenever we find out the date. Okay, I'll call for the vote. Motion passes 5-0.
Next item is approval of board member benefits. Superintendent recommends the Board of Education approve the board member benefits as listed.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and second. Any questions or comments?
Just that the board members have to pay for their own benefits if they choose to,
100%.
100%.
Okay. Anything else? Okay. Call for the vote. Motion passes 5-0.
The next item is yours, Pam. Your recommendation. Sorry.
The Board of Education authorizes the President, the Vice President, and the Treasurer to be the official signers for payments of funds for the Board of Education, and further authorize that one of the 3 signs checks on all Board of Education accounts, and that the President's signature and the Treasurer's signature may be facsimile. The President recommends the Board of Education approve the authorization of official signatures as listed.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any questions? Okay, Chris? Motion passes 5-0. Let's see. Same thing, the Board of Education authorizes the treasurer to pay bills as they are presented within availability of funds, report all bills paid monthly to the Board of Education, and to include bills not paid due to unavailability of funds. The President recommends the Board of Education authorize the treasurer to pay bills as listed.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and second. Are there any questions regarding the treasurer paying bills? Okay, Chris? Motion passes 5-0. The Board of Education authorizes the treasurer to invest inactive and interim funds at the most productive interest rate and according to board policy whenever inactive and interim funds are available. The Board of Education authorizes the treasurer to invest up to a maximum of 40% of the district's interim funds in either of the following: commercial paper notes issued by a for-profit corporation, business trust or association, real estate investment trust, common law trust, unincorporated business, or general or limited partnership, which has assets exceeding $500,000. The President recommends the Board of Education authorize the treasurer to invest inactive and interim funds and commercial paper as listed.
500 million.
$500 million. I knew I missed a few zeros there. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, thanks, Bob. Any other questions? Okay, Chris? 500,000 is very high. Motion passes 5-0.
The next item is to approve student activity accounts. The superintendent recommends the Board of Education approve the student activity accounts as listed.
So moved.
Second.
It's moved and seconded to approve the student activity accounts. Does anyone have questions? Okay. Motion passes 5-0.
The next item is to appoint fiscal officer for student activity accounts. The Board of Education appoints the superintendent to be the sign-off officer for all student activity programs, and he shall present these programs to the Board of Education once each year. He will also give the authority to approve and/or modify the student activity budgets throughout the year. The superintendent recommends the Board of Education approve the fiscal officer for the student activity accounts as listed.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Are there any questions regarding the appointment of the fiscal officer? Okay, Chris? Motion passes 5-0.
The next item is records retention. The attached records are being presented for recognition and will be submitted for approval to destroy through the History Connection. Superintendent recommends the Board of Education recognize the following records as listed.
So moved.
Second? It's been moved and seconded. Any questions regarding records retention? Okay, Chris? Motion passes 5-0.
The next item is an appointment of a purchasing agent. The Board of Education authorizes the Director of Business Operations as the superintendent's designee to serve as the purchasing agent for the school district. The superintendent recommends the Board of Education approve the appointment of the purchasing agent as listed.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Questions or comments?
I have a question.
Mhm.
Is this a new position, or is this a reappointment, or?
Reappointment.
Reappointment, okay.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, Chris? Boy, we're on a roll now. Motion passes 5-0.
The next item is a resolution of blanket certification. Superintendent and Treasurer recommend the Board of Education approve the resolution of blanket certification as listed.
So moved?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Are there questions regarding the resolution of blanket certification? Okay, Chris? Motion passes 5-0.
The next item is employment of temporary personnel. The superintendent recommends the Board of Education approve the employment of temporary personnel as listed.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Questions regarding employment of temporary personnel?
Could you give me an example of temporary personnel?
I'm not sure we had one anytime recently.
It's higher in advance, so the superintendent has the ability to put someone to work prior to bringing to the board. This gives him the authority to start them last Wednesday, and then they come tonight to the board meeting to be hired officially.
So for example, the last board meeting in January, I believe is the 22nd. We don't have another one to the 26th. So instead of having to wait to the 26th for the employee to start, HR can do the interview process, make a recommendation to me or to myself, and then once I accept it and it's put on the board agenda, they can start working immediately so we don't have a delay, because you only have board meetings once or twice a month.
Anybody else? Okay, Chris? Motion passed 5-0.
And to tag along with that, anytime I would make that recommendation, I will let you know when that occurs, because you always have the chance to say no to it or vote it down at a board meeting, because you are the final say as a board.
Okay, the Board of Education authorizes the superintendent to accept the resignation of personnel as needed. Such resignations are to be presented for approval by the Board of Education at the next regular meeting. The President recommends the Board of Education authorize the superintendent to accept the resignation of personnel as needed.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Are there any questions regarding that? Okay. Motion passed 5-0. Real quick before I call adjournment, I want to thank everybody for the patience for this first one. Had a lot of quirks here to work out with our system. Just to let you know, all of us got a copy of the meeting minutes ahead of time, so we're not just voting on the fly here tonight, although we would have time to read it over and over again the way it went tonight. But in the future, just so you know, we get it in plenty of time. We're able to call anybody up here or any other administrator if there's any questions so that we can get all that answered before it's time to actually vote on Monday. So that's why sometimes it seems to be going real quick and everybody's voting a certain way. Trust me, if there's ever any questions, they're asked and get answered ahead of time. So with that, I will call for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Okay? Motion passed 5-0. We're going to end this meeting.